Welcome to the 5th game in the Americas Pro Cup Series. We are here in Boston today to see EuroStars take on Brute Squad in what promises to be one of the most exciting, if not decisive, games of the series. EuroStars would have loved to take down all of the big 3 teams in this campaign, but so far they've only managed the one, winning over current world champions Seattle Riot, but then losing to current US national champions Fury. My name's Charlie Bear and I'm joined by Eileen Murray. Eileen, let's get straight to it. Brute Squad are the current US Open champions and have been no stranger to national finals in recent years. What will the EuroStars have to do to take down Brute Squad this evening?
Thanks so much for having me. When I was talking to Coach Jackson before the game, I know that they are really focusing on executing what they want to do. They are very dedicated to their systems on both offense and defense. So I think in order for the EuroStars to take them down tonight, they're going to really have to try to make them feel uncomfortable. Make sure they put on different looks. I noticed a little bit of that against Ozone, changing things up to keep them on their heels, and I think that's the best way that they're going to be able to get them tonight.
Yeah, agreed. I think both teams are incredibly physical, incredibly athletic, and do show a lot of depth. I know it's the game that the EuroStars have been most excited for this tour, and definitely want to avenge the loss that they had last time round. I think this game's all going to be about ebbs and flows. It could be anyone's for the taking. As we could see, Riot was there for the taking for the EuroStars, but they didn't beat Fury, and then Brute Squad beat Fury, and Fury were the favourites going into that game in US Nationals, US Open, sorry. How has Brute Squad seasons been so far in general?
Well, I think they've had a strong showing. They have a lot of really strong returners coming, and this is the coach's 4th season with them, so they've really established a nice system that they've been working towards. I know they had a disappointing finish at Worlds in Ohio this summer. Losing to Colombia in the semis was really difficult for them, but they used that as an opportunity to grow, and coming back and winning US Open and really beating Fury, I think, in a very decisive fashion. I mean, the game was close, but you could tell that they had just regained their confidence. I think they're really on an upswing now, getting ready to head into the series.
Yeah, and who on his team has played the EuroStars before? We know that some of the Boston players were forming part of that Team USA team at World Beach last year.
Yes, that was exciting. So Amber, number 10, Amber Sinocrope was there, and number 13, Becky Malinowski were both there. And I know that it was a very exciting competition, especially that finals against Russia. That was just such an amazing game. So they've had experience on beach, but also Brute has a lot of players who have been around for a long time and been playing on the world stage. I mean, Cammie Groom and Leon Hoffman, they all have had the opportunity to play against international competitors. But then you also, of course, have Katie Forth, who has played in Texas as well as Bex, and so seeing them in the national competition as well.
Yeah, the 4 sisters both very familiar with Brute squads. The rest of the EuroStar squad not so much. Dina Domayanskaya and Fran Scrampi, they played on Brilliance together this season at WCC, and talking to Fran earlier in the game, Fran also a returning player for the EuroStars. She knows, I think the quote from Fran was, they can take 2 seconds to ramp it up and score in 3 passes.
Yeah.
And the EuroStars are very aware that this Brute Squad defense is going to be hot on their shoulders tonight. And for them, the focus is going to be that discipline, making sure they know that Brute Squad like making those really tight spaces to work in. And they know that for the EuroStars, it's all going to be about keeping that focus.
Well, and I've also been really impressed with EuroStars' ability to hit those tight windows and to not be afraid to put the disc up. I mean, especially, Bex and Katie, I mean, I've known them for a long time, and just to see them continuing to play at such a high level and just to turn and send that disc downfield, just trusting their teammates and knowing that the disc is going to be where they want it to be. So I think they're ready. I mean, from what I've watched in the past 4 games, I think they're ready to throw into those tight windows, but I'm looking forward to see how much Brute Squad challenges them.
Yeah, absolutely. Highly fit, highly skilled squad. All of these women on the EuroStars squad are used to being the talismans of their team back at home. So it's lovely to see them here in a peer group working at their potential. And interestingly, tonight we have a bit more balance than we've had in the previous games. The Team America squad's normally having a bit of a fuller roster. We've only got 16 on the EuroStars roster for this whole campaign, and interestingly 16 on the Boston roster for tonight. Who are the names that we're missing?
Well, so I know that for this game they did lose a couple from injury, so I know that they were supposed to have 3 other players tonight. One rookie, Alex Odie, number 0, got injured. Number 37, Lauren Sadler, and number 38, Hannah Hinken, another rookie. All 3 of them are injured and unable to play tonight. So they were going to have 19 and are down to 16. So we're missing them.
This is great. It's going to make it a nice, even, gritty, exciting battle. Also, I think the wind's really kind of gusty here today as well. We can see there's a wind fan, wind propeller in the distance. I've lost the words.
Yeah,
wind turbine, there we go. Wind turbine really spinning quite violently in the distance. We know that Brute's long game is really powerful and impactful. When they played the EuroStars last year, they broke away, and the EuroStars managed to get them up to level peggings late in the game, but cruelly stole it from them in those very 2 last quick points with big puts up from Malinowski in particular.
Well, one of the things too is the weather here in the Northeast. Sometimes the wind can die down as the sun goes down. So the game, it's possible by later in the game the wind will change and it'll become a lot more calm. So we'll see how that impacts the game in the second half. So although it's windy right now, when I was down on the field, it seemed like a pretty stiff wind. It might just become more of like a thrower's wind in the second half.
Are there any particular matchups that you're excited about seeing tonight, Ali?
Well, I wanted to give a shout out to a player that I've known for a while since her days at Emory University at college, Chelsea Murphy, number 21. And, you know, Chelsea is one of those players who just does a lot of the small things really well, especially defensively. So I'm excited to just watch and to even learn myself from her footwork when she's covering players. And really, she has one of the best marks on Brute Squad on a team that really focuses a lot on their marking.
Cool, and here we are about to kick off. I think it's a good time to remind everyone that in the point series at the moment for the America's Pro Cup, it's currently Team Europe leading by 7 points and Team America with 3. So a victory by a margin of 4 points or more this evening will actually seal the deal for the EuroStars on this tour.
So let's hope that everything stays close.
Let's hope it stays competitive, yes.
Don't want to steal anything from Scandal and
Is that convincing enough of an answer?
So we see Tulsa Douglas fielding the pull, getting out to Amber Sinocrope. Getting it quickly downfield to Hoffman, number 4, back to Amber. Number 14, Tulsa. Amber and Tulsa working so well together. Just Tulsa's second year on the team, but already such an integral part of this offense and handler set. Nice swing around the top. Number 17, Zoo. Getting it back to Douglas. This is nice, patient offense, swinging it around. Amber getting it in finally to number 52, Caitlin O'Connell.
Yeah, really lovely patience there. You can see the flat marks of the EuroStars trying to stop any long shots and trying to stop those IO breaks, but Brute really squaring up to that around and just patiently working it towards the break side.
I think this speaks towards Coach Jackson's discussion about them working on their system, and if the first shot isn't open, you reset quickly, put it around the other side, get it to the break to the person in the end zone.
Great, so let's see how the first EuroStars O-line is going to respond to this.
So I asked one of the players on Brute earlier, 83, Allie Heath, about how they were going to do the subbing tonight, and she said there probably was going to be 2 lines with a little bit of switching, so it'll be interesting to see how well they can get into a groove early on in the game.
Yeah, and I know the EuroStars, they don't tend to play strict. There's not half of them playing offense, half of them playing defense. It's definitely a shared load. But they do have pods of players together that work well.
Well, I was wondering why Katie and Bex don't play on the same lines very, very often, if at all. I don't
trade
know if
secrets, I can't reveal that. So here we have Hauser centering with the disc. Not finding anything free upfield and laying it back to Dumanskaya, who tries to puncture it through to Eklund in the middle, but it's a bit too much zing and it slips right out of her hands.
Number 7, Cami Groom, able to read that play too. Getting the disc now on the side. Again, resetting the disc. Oh, it's a little bit low.
Great
Is that
save.
up?
Great save.
Oh, that's nice. That's number 29.
Oh, and the leaping body of Klebitska there, unable. Oh, looks like a pick.
I do like how the tour has been using the hand signals so that it's easier for the people in the stands to be able to tell what's going on. Sometimes it's hard to know.
Yeah, often in the end zone, there's lots of picks generated. It can get quite congested, and if you can't quite keep up with your mark because there's another player in the way, then you're within your rights to call a pick.
Well, I'm pretty sure that Coach Jackson didn't mean for Brute Squad to be so bunched up to the front. I think one way to prevent that is for the players to be moving to the back of the end zone. So that's probably something they'll have to work on as the game goes on. But throwing a nice around break. Number 12, Nicole Canning, to number 29, Caitlin Lee.
And so there we have our first break of the game. A strong start from Brute, showing excellent patience against this EuroStars D-line.
And that was one of the things I noticed Ozone wasn't able to do in the most recent game. When their offense gave it away, they weren't able to stop the EuroStars defense. So hopefully the EuroStars will be able to generate a break and be able to use that again. A really effective offense that the D-line can play.
Absolutely, and we're hoping this is going to be a very competitive game. There's $1,000 up for grabs in all of these games. So far, with 3 wins under the belt, the EuroStars bank account's looking a little bit healthier, but there is a very big credit card bill. So
I was going to say that's probably a lot of motivation right there. So I have a question actually about the offense for the EuroStars. Have you noticed them developing over the games to be able to put on different looks than they were able to maybe in the first game against Heist?
I think we've been playing the same systems from the beginning. It's just about refining those. And keeping that space generated. And
oh, nice.
Lucy Ortel puts up a huge stick straight away to Katie Forth, but the Brute defense was enough to distract her.
That seems uncharacteristic. I feel like I always see the Forth sisters come down with those.
And so now Brute working it back up patiently. Finding
something was called. Was that a foul on the throw?
Yeah.
So it looks like Amber's getting the disc back. Number 10, Sarah Crope's getting the disc back. Getting it right out there to number 17, Angela Zhu. Down the line to number 4, Hoffman again. Oh, Amber was able to shake her defender, get a nice down the line shot to number 83, Allie Heath, for a second break.
Amber Sinnecrope to Allie
That's a really strong point there from a very flawless Brute Squad offense right now.
Well, it's interesting that they had Amber cross over to the D-line there after the first break. They probably wanted to get some fresh legs out there. Having Amber on a D-line, who's typically an offensive handler, I think is really helpful. She can control that then.
Fresh legs is going to be very important in this game. We know Brute Squad are a team that enjoy that foot race very, very much. No stranger to that. And we've got a timeout called here, which I would assume would be from the EuroStars.
That is a good call. So they have 2 timeouts per half?
Yes, that's right.
And I've noticed that in the games I've watched, the teams have been using them very effectively, I think, to stop momentum. Like you said, it is going to be a game of runs. So trying to stop the momentum right here, regroup themselves, come back on, and hopefully punch it in.
Today's game is brought to you with support by Lucky Grass.
So Eileen, tell me a bit more about the New York Empire. They're hosting us today in Boston because Boston don't have their own professional AUDL team at the moment.
Yeah, so we the AUDL reached out. There's not a professional team in Boston. They reached out to the New York franchise to host, and we were more than happy to do that. New York has been in the AUDL since the second year, so we just finished our 6th season. Played in championship weekend. We're the East Division champs for the first time ever. And just really excited about being able to showcase women's ultimate at such a high level. I know that our players are very connected. We have several people who volunteer a lot in the community, counselors at camps like Nutsy, which is a really strong youth camp up here in Massachusetts, run by Tina Booth. So having this opportunity to support women who we so admire and watch a lot on TV already in Brute Squad, they have a lot of opportunities to showcase their talents. It's just really exciting.
That's great. We're very, very grateful for you hosting us here today, and we've got a great crowd out today. The stands are filling up thick and fast.
Well, Boston has a very strong ultimate community. Their leagues, they have a strong women's league that I think is entering maybe their 5th or 6th year. So we have lots of folks coming out to support the teams.
Awesome. We see Brute Squad coming down in a poachly handler marks, but they seem to have tightened up now into person. How's they finding Laura Ferolfi, the Italian national, in the centre, laying it off to Bexforth. He finds Demanskaya up the line, who looks long immediately, and there goes the put to Laura Ferolfi. Can she reel it in? Yes, she can, as that disc dips perfectly into her hands.
That's beautiful, and number 29, Caitlin Lee, really didn't have much of a play on that disc because of the angle on the disc going right over her head. It's the perfect throw for a receiver.
And that's beautiful flow from the EuroStars. That's when they're really hitting 5th gear. Laura Ferolfi loves that deep cut. She starts off in the back as a handler and just jet propels herself to the end zone. And again, a wonderful put from Demanskaya, who we've seen in past games launch it 3/4 of the pitch.
And this is what I was talking about earlier, the fact that she turns and throws, and the EuroStars are just so good at getting in front of their defender and keeping that body positioning so that those deep shots go over the defender and just right into the breadbasket.
Yeah, and very good at exploiting that momentum on those undercuts and those turns, absolutely. So here we have EuroStars to the first points on the board. And looking to get their first break of the match. You can see Katie Forth holding the disc with those bright orange boots. So that's how you can tell apart the two.
Do you think they'll come down in a zone, or do you think they'll match this play?
I think they're going to match this play. Yeah.
I love the athletic matchups are great. I'm really excited.
I think Brute have showed great patience already, so they probably want to try and give them the run around.
So again, Amber and Tulsa, number 10 and 14. Amber Sinacrope and Tulsa Douglas fielding it. Handling duo, getting it downfield to number 52, O'Connell. Back to Sinacrope, looking for that swing over to Douglas. Showing some great patience. It's a little cheeky break right there. Back to Amber, keep it alive. Finally finding that open cutter downfield, number 4, Hoffman. Looking to reset. Allie, number 82, 3, can't really get open for the reset. And pushing into a tight window to number 22, Negas.
Yeah, Sarah Melvin there, the Irish national, hot on the shoulders of Brute, but it's an uncontested foul.
Let's see what Vicky is resetting over number 10, looking for that swing, which she scored on earlier this game. Getting the reset on the break side, back to Amber in the middle of the field. Strike to the sideline, so that's number 4, Hoffman. Can't quite see who scored that.
For the Brute Squad score. That brings the score 4-1.
Again, another lovely patient point there from Brute. Initially, the EuroStars are doing a great job of taking out those handler marks. Francis Grampi there, really hustling and forcing that up the line throw to the tight window with Sarah Melvin hot on the heels, but when that disc came back in, we were able to work it around again.
So I think that they were trying to stop the around break. That was effective for the first couple of points, but then they unfortunately gave up the strike side. And Tulsa going downfield, number 14, Tulsa Douglas, who is usually in the handler set, being in that cutting position.
So interesting that we actually haven't seen Brute demonstrate their long game. It's the EuroStars that have been doing so. The Brute have demonstrated a great deal of patience in these offensive points.
Yes. I mean, I wonder if that was part of the coach's game plan coming in, trying to figure out, like, he was really excited to have this amazing opportunity against a really good team. It's a challenge for his team to remain disciplined, so maybe he's trying to get them to execute something slightly different.
And Hauser again centering the disc. To Laura Ferolfi. Up the line to Nikki Prien, but snagged by Brute Squad.
Seems like maybe discussion about a foul, possibly a strip.
We can take a quick look at the replay. There's definitely a clean hand to it, but maybe if that shoulder stopped Prien from being able to make a play.
It looks like is what she's trying
to
to
be the
communicate.
discussion, yes. So it's a self-officiated game, so if there is a foul, it's something that the players will resolve themselves, and it looks like it's a contested foul, and so the disc has gone back.
And with this self-officiation, it's so important that the players are respectful. You see that they have a respectful conversation. They don't agree, they send the disc back. It's so important and something that makes the sport so unique and I think really appealing to a lot of athletes.
So EuroStars again looking to work the disc up the field. Yanni Kalpoman up the line to Bex Forthy. Unfortunately that disc hangs and just dips at the last moment.
I think on this sideline, the wind is going to have a big impact, that kind of pushing the disc down there. It's going to be harder. So let's see how patient the D-line offense can be. See number 42, Kramer with the disc. Getting to middle of the field, finally shooting it through the middle. Number 7, Broom, is sending it deep, so there's a slightly deeper shot. Getting it to number 2, Sophie Holbert.
And there's that long game we've been waiting for, and executed perfectly. We saw the EuroStars defenders really caught there.
And Sophie, number 2, the woman who just scored, she's a rookie this year on Brute Squad, but actually came from New York. So she went to college at Columbia University and played with New York Bent, the women's team over there in New York. And she's on her first year here with Brute. And I know they've been really happy with her defensively, but also about her top level speed. For on a team with a lot of athletes coming in and being one of those top speedy athletes has been really helpful for their D-line offense.
Yeah, what a fantastic first year. What a great stage to be on, a first season on Brute and professional match under the belt already. So here we have...
Is it bad that I want to sing like every song that comes on?
Not at all. I'm right there with you, trying to hold back those instincts. So here we have EuroStars 5-1 down against Brute Squad at the moment. We're hoping they can get back in the game.
Well, I think we know they can. I mean, we've seen them have nice long runs of points.
So Maya Milek with the disc and nearly lost there. She's sent it to Paula Bass, who finds Scarampi in the centre. Finding Isa Prada punching that middle space of the pitch. Now to Ines Pugel. She saw that swing, but could see the Fury defense tracking it down. Decides to lay it off to Milik instead. Who uncontested foul, so play continues. And Brugel sends it to the end zone, but it's going to be too short.
Thought she was going to get there.
Fantastic bid there from Jessica Scarampi.
the EuroStars did a really good job there keeping it in the middle of the field up until the end. That was really nice. So
it was
close.
great vision, and the cut was perfectly timed, but it, as you can see, Scrampy really close to the back of the end zone there, running out of room and a little bit too low.
And that's what I love about the EuroStars. They just give it 100% until the very, very last moment. But now Brute has to work it all the way down the field, starting from the corner, which is difficult. They have to take a bailout shot, which is caught on a second attempt after a little bit of a bobble by number 52, Caitlin O'Connell. Nice bid.
Fantastic bid there from Ines Brichel, leaping up. I'd love to see the replay and see how close that is, but that is another break for Brute Squad.
And there we see Chelsea Murphy, who I was talking about earlier, with her just footwork and speed, getting into that tight space. I mean, that she was running out of real estate very quickly there. Was able to just reel it in on some very tight defense.
See the yard gains here from Ines Brichel.
It's amazing.
Just a foot taller, a few inches taller. She could have had a hand to it, but again, great offensive play from Brute Squad. So what are EuroStars going to have to do now to try and regain this deficit they've got themselves into early on?
Well, I mean, they just need to finish the points. I mean, I think that they're doing a really nice job moving it down, and then just a couple of mistakes here and there. And playing against a team like Brute Squad, they are not going to give it back, which is really difficult. With other teams, I think you can rely a little bit on possibly getting it back from the D-line. But because I think it's actually helping Brute to have a short squad tonight, because they can have a lot of O players playing on their D-lines to actually help with that flow once they get the turn. So I know no one can see this, but we have a lot of kids around us, which is amazing too. Kids get the opportunity to come out and see this at a very young age.
Yeah, under us, in front of us, around us. So Bexforth picking up the disc for the EuroStars. Brute doing a great job of shutting down those foot races, but finds Ferolfi on the line. And a little chip from Eklund, but regains her feet and finds Nikki Prien. Quick reset to Dumanskaya. Oh. And unfortunately just thrown behind for Rolfi, and again Brute can potentially take advantage of this.
So I might try to bury them on the sideline here like they're doing. Really try to make that hard. That sideline is hard to get off of. So it's definitely the right to slow it down. Oh, nice catch. That's Sophie. Again, the rookie from New York.
And there's the long.
Becky losing her hat, catching that, number 12, Becky Malinowski.
And fantastically tracked down by Dumanskaya, but even her tall span and great gait couldn't quite catch up with Malinowski, who calmly rises above and brings it down fantastically, and catches a hat at the same time.
No, and honestly, I don't know how long this is going to last in terms of, it seems like a lot of the Brute throws that are going up are contested. The EuroStars are right there, but the disc just seems to be falling right into Brute Squad's hands, so you have to wonder if at some point the wind is going to go more to the EuroStars' favor than it has for the first 8 points of the game.
Bag is the #1 bag for Ultimate players, designed by Ultimate players for Ultimate.
So Eileen, I know you're involved in a lot of, obviously you're coach of the New York Empire, and you told me before about some women's coaching programs that you're heading up at the moment. Could you tell us a bit more about that?
Sure. Since I don't play very much anymore, I've really moved into coaching, and I've found a passion in trying to help develop female coaches. I've noticed that we have a lot of females working at the community level and the youth level, but as you move higher and higher up, there are fewer and fewer female coaches. So I've really started to try to think creatively about ways to bring more women and give them more confidence into taking those positions. And so I offered a women's coaching clinic for Disc NY in New York, and would like to have follow-up. They asked me if I would do follow-ups, which is great. And so just having women come in and see that there is no mystery to coaching, that they do have the skills and do have the ability to do these things. Because I think a lot of times women, don't necessarily have this unfounded confidence that sometimes, you need to just take that plunge, right? I mean, I started coaching at a very young age, but I started coaching high school. But getting into coaching adults is a totally different ballgame. You have to just really just take a leap of faith. And we have so many women who've been playing for years and years and years that do have a lot to offer back to the sport.
Fantastic, and we restart again with EuroStars on offense.
See Amber with that really aggressive flat mark.
Quick resets between Bass and Milik, but fantastic defense from Fury.
Oh, that was
perfectly
amazing.
Read play there.
Number 17, Angela Zhu. That is something we see her do a lot. Oh, it didn't look like Douglas was necessarily ready for that, but she's able to pull it in. Resets back to Sinecrope. A little give and go action on the line. And I think Douglas might have snuck that in.
Oh, and then we see it. We have another break and Brute Squad taking the half. Brute Squad really giving the EuroStars very few choices in this first half. You can see they're very tight on all of those foot races. They're tight on the handler marks and forcing the EuroStars to throw into very small spaces, as we discussed at the start, and generating those Ds. What a fantastic play there. And we see here again, once they do regain possession of the disc, they're just so cool and calm and really walking it in at the moment.
So you're in the EuroStars huddle in halftime. What kind of things do you think you're saying to your teammates at this point?
I think going into this game, the EuroStars knew that Fury are very hot on the shoulders, tight on that defense, and I think they play a very similar defensive game to Fury, and Fury really got in their heads.
You mean Brute Squad? Brute Squad.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Brute Squad play a very similar game to Fury, and Fury really got in the heads of the EuroStars, and I think we're seeing that again tonight with Brute Squads. It's really affecting that decision making, and it's affecting that confidence in the cut and the systems that the EuroStars play themselves. They're trying to force those open side throws rather than really being brave and taking on those IOs or being patient with those rounds. And I think it's just that recalibrating, focus, faith in the systems, faith in each other, and just putting it all in now. But was this the result you expected at this stage of the game?
Not at all. After watching the first 4 games, I really thought it was going to be trading points until the end, like happened last time. Maybe some swings, maybe two or 3 points, but I'm not going to count the EuroStars out. I mean, any team that can, it's quite within their wheelhouse to get 4 or 5 breaks in a row and get right back in this game.
Absolutely. So we should use this moment to thank all of our sponsors who are supporting the EuroStars Tour. Of course, the AUDL, Fulcrum Media, 50/50, Tokay, Friction Gloves, Greatest for their bags, and currently if you use the code EuroStars10 on the website, you can get some great discount on their gear.
I noticed that the Friction Gloves, they have the EuroStars actual gloves now, right, with the design on them? That's fantastic.
Cool, so here we have it at half. It's 8-1 to Boston Brute Squads. Not quite the competitive half we're hoping for, but definitely hoping the second half will be much different, and we'll take a look at some replays right now and we'll be back with you shortly.
Sometimes the no, sometimes I'm so home. Sometimes the no,
and becoming the best at it and mastering myself and seeing what I have within me.
That was on.
Oh,
Olivia Hauser takes the shot.
Wow.
And there it is.
There
Olivia Hauser sends it to Bexwell. He brings it home. And that is a EuroStars win against the current world champions, Seattle Riot.
Charlie's excited.
So monumentally proud of this EuroStars team. A team of unknowns. This is a team that these are faces, these are new faces for lots of people around the world. Lots of people watching these streams. These are not players that most people are familiar with. And this is exactly why this tour exists. Because there are players in Europe that are of phenomenal talent.
I'm going to pass you over to Ali from Brute Squad, who is going to tell us who these lovely people are.
Hello and welcome. So the first person that we're going to honor tonight is Zoe Heck, and Zoe's been a leader in our ultimate. Yeah, applause! Yeah, Zoe! Zoe is not here tonight, but I hear someone is accepting on her behalf, so if that's you, come on down. Zoe started the girls team at her high school and also captained the Buda YCC team for 2 years. She's now at Oberlin College and has been also a product of NUTSI, being a camper, CIT, and counselor there. So she's outspoken for issues of gender equity, and she's just awesome. So let's give Zoe another quick hand, and whoever's accepting
Okay, so welcome back here to half at the EuroStars versus Boston game, and in every city that the EuroStars visits, they celebrate the empowerment champions of the local area. These are people that in the local community have done huge things to empower women and girls. And here we have the award ceremony headed up by Bex of the EuroStars. And here tonight we're honouring 4 individuals who've done so much for the Boston community. The first of which is Cami Groom, who is on this Brute Squad's team tonight. Sorry, that was the nominee for is actually Zoe Hecht, who is the award winner tonight. So my apologies. Zoe started the women's team at her high school and captained Buda YCC for 2 years. Zoe has been both a NUTC camper and counsellor and very active in the gender equity forums at NUTC. So many congratulations to Zoe for all of her hard work. The second of the award winners tonight goes to a pair. It's Rob and Kristen Brazil. And as leader of the Buddha YCC program, Rob and Kristen have cultivated team cultures that promote strong competition alongside gender equity goals. Throughout recent years, they have altered the structure of youth leagues to encourage female athletes to play, including prioritising Buddha's under-17 girls team over fielding a mixed team. Rob and Kristen also work to ensure that youth leagues are coached by highly qualified female athletes in the sport.
Thank you very much for everyone's support.
So again, many congratulations to Rob and Kristen, and many thanks for all of their hard work. And finally, the final award winner is Betsy Calkins. Betsy runs the Women's League in Boston, ensuring that women have a space to play ultimate. This includes organising clinics for women to learn to play, leagues and hat tournaments. Betsy organises and finds coaches for clinics and helps coaches herself. During her time on Brute Squad, Betsy was actively involved in organising the clinics that Brute Squad put on for local college teams. So again, final congratulations and thanks to Betsy for all the work that she does in the community. Okay, so we're going to leave you with some of this footage of the local youth games, and we'll be back as the second half starts.
actually lost because he
So welcome back to the second half of this game between EuroStars and Fury, the 5th game in the Americas Pro Cup. EuroStars currently down 8-1 to Boston Brute Squad. Unfortunately, just haven't really had the opportunity to get into this game and flex their muscles at all. Brute Squad being absolutely ruthless and exploiting every turnover, not giving the disc back at all to the EuroStars.
I'm starting to root for a comeback. I want this game to be longer for sure. But we were talking during the break about how the travel is just so exhausting for the EuroStars. It's a very compact schedule. So many teams wanted to have the opportunity to play against them, and being the 5th game, the second half of the tour, I can imagine that just the fatigue is also probably setting in.
Yeah, the travel's been really, really demanding. It's really pretty much been a schedule of game on, travel day, and then another game on. There was one extra day in San Francisco, but again, at the end of that first week, the team was really wiped out. So it has been a demanding tour, but these women are phenomenal athletes and they are phenomenally fit. And I think at the moment it's just getting that mental strength and head back in the game. And we could definitely see a comeback here for sure. They'll be absolutely rampaging to try and get their hands on this disc. They really haven't been able to flex their muscles at all. So here we have the EuroStars coming out on offense. But here we see another unforced error, unfortunately, and Brute are likely to punish.
Up, giving it back. So that's the first time that Brute, I think, has given it back.
Yeah,
so that's encouraging for EuroStars.
First turn from Brute squad there on an overthrow, and EuroStars come back rampaging with the counter-attack, and Kublitska sends it to the end zone for Eklund to reel in, the Swedish national, representing Atletico in WCC this year for the finish, and returning member of this squad. So great to see the opening half with EuroStars getting their second point on the board.
So has there been a natural leader coming out of the EuroStars besides the captains, just in terms of firing the team up and getting them excited, making the big plays when needed?
You know what? There's definitely, this team is full of leaders. They are all talismans of their own team back home, and really there's no one individual that stands out, and you can see that from the stats throughout the campaign, really spread across the board. I mean, in the Riot game, there wasn't one player that didn't get a stat in this game, and that's really the strength of this team, is their depth. And unfortunately today, they just haven't had enough disc to really demonstrate that, but we're hoping that's going to change in the second half.
So now they need to work on a break. We tried to get my children to tell us about the wind conditions down on the field during halftime. They said it wasn't as windy, but I don't know how much I actually trust them.
That wind turbine's still looking pretty furious, yeah. So Franz Scrampy looking to pull for the EuroStars D-line and looking to start getting those breaks back.
Well, that is a nice pull. 83, Heath is fielding that, getting it down to 17, Zoo. It's like they're having that junky zone look again that was effective against Ozone. Slowing the Brute offense down is going to be good. So Zoo has to blade it over the top, getting it out to Chelsea Murphy, 21. Getting it to the side pretty quickly. Now it looks like they've transitioned to match.
Lovely throw.
And that is Amber, number 10, getting that. I feel like Amber, number 10, Synchrope, and 14, Douglas, are especially good at that striking from the reset position in the front of the stack. You saw Douglas do that earlier in the first half, and Synchrope doing it right there, knowing that when the backfield reset is not open, really powerful cut to the open side.
And I really love that very quick backhand IO there. She'd worked her mark so well. Bass unfortunately had bitten a little bit too far one way, and just she had that space in front of her to really zip it to her receiver, with the EuroStars defender trailing behind. And the zone doing an effective job of plugging that long game. But again, whilst we were debating whether it's windy or not, it doesn't seem to be too windy with that pinpoint kind of knifey, bladey throw that Brute used to get it into the middle of the pitch, and once they'd popped that cup, they were away.
Well, then it's more of a 5-on-2, I mean 5-on-3, so they have to recover very quickly. So looking for a clean hold, get into a groove before they get on the break chain. Hopefully get a little caught up in the second half.
Yeah, let's hope to see something special from this EuroStars O-line, sorry.
So there we had the pull. I think that was 28. Cohen with the pull.
And some quick handler movement here between Priyan and Hauser. Priyan struggling to find anything upfield, and the handler resets wasn't there.
And Cohen just immediately striking, getting it to Groom in the end zone very quickly. And we had spoken just a little bit earlier about the EuroStars having to establish just the basic kind of ideas of reset, because coming from such a diverse group, it's really hard to get that settled.
Yeah, and a very, very quick conversion there from Brute. Again, just allowing the EuroStars no opportunity to get in this game at all, and it's such a shame. So you can see the whole EuroStars squad reassembling on the line. This is really, it's a whole team effort now, everyone engaged, the sideline engaged. This team needs to be ramping each other up and believing in this comeback. They've given themselves a hard task, but it's not an impossible one. And again, looks like Kaylee Forth is staying on for this point. So Kaylee Forth, one of the Forth sisters, as many people will know. She's currently living in Houston, has been living in America for the last 15 years. Her sister Bex moved out about 4 years ago, which is lovely, keeps the cousins together. And both playing for Texas Showdown and Austin Torch. So it's Forth who will pick up the disc. Up the line to Bass. Centering with Milik, who finds Forth again. EuroStars choosing to gain some yards in the field, working it through the handlers. Back to Milik, who goes for that long shot and sees a free Scarampi. Perfectly toes it in the line and lays it off to Inês Brigel from Portugal. Her first outing on the women's scene, and what an outing it's been. And she manages to get the 3rd point on the board for the EuroStars. So a much better point there from the EuroStars, Eileen.
Well, what I really liked about that point too was the handlers seemed to just move more quickly, not really wait and take those shots, where we talked earlier about how they were really able to take those close window shots and just regaining that confidence that, yes, we can do that. Let's move it downfield aggressively and put this in.
Yeah, much more aggressive play from the EuroStars, which is how they like to play, and testament to Brute for not allowing them to do that. It's very much part of the plan, is to almost have those handlers moving immediately, even if the defense hasn't clamped down on them there, just to make sure that you're constantly moving, because if you're constantly moving, it's very hard for the defense to establish themselves.
And trusting that big receiver downfield, knowing that she was going to be able to get it. And, you know, at some point, you just have to trust your receivers to make the plays that they need to make.
Francesca Scarampi, no stranger to big plays. She's been on many a highlight reel, many a poster. Been playing in Great Britain for over a decade. Played for many seasons with Iceni. Most recently played with Brilliance at WCC, the Russian outfit, with her EuroStars teammate Dina Demanskaya, who's currently holding the disc and is looking to pull and seek that 4th point on the board for the EuroStars and another break. Demanskaya is a gold medal winning athlete, having been part of the Russian beach team that beat USA last year in Royan.
So it looks like they're doing kind of a sagging handler defense to start to slow down the initial play. Seemed to be effective. Brute is now having to work it up. Pop over the top. I think that's having a harder time seeing the numbers now that it's getting darker at.
Oh, really active, aggressive handler mark in there from Bex Force, who forces that miscommunication. Picks up the disc immediately, but unable to lay it off quickly. And
nice catch.
Fantastic snag to keep that disc alive. Huge celebration there from Laura Ferolfi with the assist, and all credit to Bex Forth there, who was an integral member of that point.
Whereas there's that fire that we needed to see them this half, getting this second break.
That's Laura Ferralfi to Rebecca Forth for the first EuroStars break.
And there we have it, the EuroStars captain stepping up to line, running the show, and getting that break for the EuroStars.
And what got Beck so open there, I think, was that first started with that amazing fake she had and got her defense on the wrong side and then was able to just give and go, punch that in. So I don't know how many viewers were able to see the Facebook Live this afternoon where they talked about how the squad was selected, where Bex was talking about that, but along with her puppet helpers, which I enjoyed very much. That was fantastic.
It was a lot of fun to make, yes, for sure. So this is where you can see the extra talents that these women have as well. Actually, Laura Ferralfi is a semi-professional theatre actor that came up this week, and she was the obvious choice for Giovanni. And it was just wonderful to, you know, let her put that sock puppet on and the character develop from there. There was not a huge amount of direction needed.
Well, it's good to see that they're still having fun, even with the amount of travel that they're doing, able to have those light moments.
And this is the product of delirious twilight travel. So again, for Grand Prix of a monstrous pool.
So we have 83, Heath fielding the pull again, getting it out to Douglas, 14 on the side. Continuing down the side to Verhallen. Back to the middle, getting it to 4. Hoffman fakes it deep, gets it back out to the side to Douglas. The EuroStars are doing a much better job this time, stopping them, Brute, from being comfortable and making them really work back. They've already lost about 10 yards since where they started, but able to break free and put something very close. Nice contested defense, but O'Connell, 52, is able to pull it down under that pressure.
And Brute, they're really confident at working those tight spaces in a way that hasn't quite worked for EuroStars. Brute squad's loving those foot races, loving those hard athletic battles, and very used to coming down on top. Lovely patient take there.
It looked like they had started out on a flat mark, which was being really effective, and then transitioned to the backhand. I wonder if it would be helpful to stay flat to make, you know, keep Brute just having to move it back and forth to generate more of those turns.
Hey fans, check out Spikeball, one of our sponsors, and visit them at spikeball.com to purchase a kit to play. They have great apparel.
So yeah, in this, we've been doing a lot of Facebook Lives this week. We've been engaging with the junior teams at World, so that was how Giovanni and Marta were birthed. We did our third one today for GB Junior Women, and we're wishing all the junior teams out there the best of luck.
So Brute getting down there very aggressively. See Malinowski hustling down.
Nice quick play again from Becksworth, laying it off to Ferralfi, who sends it long to Sarah Melvin. Great body from Melvin, nice and strong. Hands up high in the air, looking to get it off that line. Finds Ferralfi again. He takes on that IO break, but unfortunately just too far for Nikki Priyan. And EuroStars looking to hustle again to get that disc back.
Just looked like it went right under her hand. I mean, if you're not going to score, having them in this corner, having to work the full length of the field is where you want them to be.
So you see some loose poaching on the handlers. Duman-Skye there, the big span, trying to plug those upfield throws.
Doing a good job making them reset over and over. Haven't really moved past the line of the end zone. Becky's hustling downfield, calling for it. Hopefully the mark can up, and she puts it up. And it's just too far for Becky to get to. Becky, I think, is one of the tallest players on Brute, and that was even too high for her.
Yeah, I think Becky comes in at 5'11", and being tracked down there by Yanni Kalponen, and she did make that cut a lot earlier, and Yanni did a good job of tracking it down. I think she thought the disc had swung again, but pinged across, and thankfully the pressure was enough for Malinskaya to not watch the disc safely into her hands. So we have Hauser, the Swiss international, walking it back up to the line. EuroStars with the whole length of the pitch to work it up. But Hauser also with an arsenal of huge throws, a former national squash player, potentially some of the strongest in the game. Hauser finds Prien on the line. Ferolfi back for that reset, looking to charge up the line to get it back, and instead making space for the downfield, but potentially a huck that went a little bit too low. Not sure who Hauser was aiming for there, but unfortunately another unforced error from the EuroStars, and Brute will look to punish yet again.
So 28, Cohen picking up on the far sideline, looking for the reset immediately. EuroStars making that very difficult.
Really great matchup there between Malinskowski and Dimanskaya, the two tallest players on the pitch, it would seem. There's a call.
I think there might have been a pick downfield, can't tell.
So yeah, Dimanskaya, they're doing a great job of plugging those first looks, but
looks like there was a pick. Number 42, Kramer, is coming back. Quick release around. Cohen's doing a great job at quarter packing this disc. Working with number 32, Megan Moose-Wilson. On the doorstep here.
Yeah,
see if they
EuroStars
can be
working
patient.
very hard, dropping off really effectively to plug those gains, and Nikki Prien streaming through for the run through D, aggressively counter-attacking. Look at that yardage gain. And a timeout called.
That is a good call right there.
Great call.
And downfield reception.
Great call there.
Timeout EuroStars.
Excellent determination from this EuroStars team. Had the Brute squad knocking on their door for quite some time there, but never let up, never eased up their foot on the pedal. Effective poachers on the three handlers who were trying to work it up and giving the illusion of space where there was none, and allowed Nikki Prien to stream through there and aggressively counter-attack.
I think Brute got a little bit impatient there. You know, there was very good handler defense, and instead of hitting the, I think 28, Cohen was in the middle of the field and just trying to take the quick score. And like you said, the defender was hiding back there. So we have this opportunity right here to talk a little bit about, you know, why the tour is happening and the reasons that the EuroStars are here doing this whirlwind tour right now.
So yeah, it's all about visibility and engagement. We're very, very grateful for all these top American clubs agreeing to play in this series. It's beautiful to see women supporting women. There is far greater opportunity for women here in the States to play Frisbee, a much bigger, more developed scene. Exactly like the programs that you're running with coaching women, these things still don't exist in Europe. We're still a fair few years behind. And some of these women, Sarah Melvin, for example, hailing from Ireland, has to travel 4 hours to her local training, 4 hours each way to Dublin. But as you can see, a phenomenal athlete, someone who's racking up the stats in this tour, and having the ability, the opportunity to play at this level is absolutely fantastic, and things offers learning that she can take back to Ireland. So EuroStars coming back in with a disc. Dumanskaya sees fourth quickly up the line, finds for Rolfie, uses her body really well against the physical play of Brute.
Hope everybody's okay. See the replay.
Dumanskaya using that big reach to wrap around Milowski. And yeah, for Rolfie very much there first, and the bid was a little late. So play restarts. Rolfie again with the disc. Oh, huge snag from Yanni Kapelman, towering over her defender. German international, spent over a decade playing Frisbee, started in juniors, and now trying to find that assist to Dumanskaya. Such a great target, such a tempting target, but unfortunately floated too much, and
Nice block to save the goal by Becky Malinowski.
Brute has snagged that away from the EuroStars. So Brute squad here were being contained, but now they've let rip, and for Rolfie a whisker away from that deep, but unable to bring it down. Malinowski, great patience and finding that tight little gap. Resetting, being patient again. And there they have it, another patient score from Brute. And EuroStars has given themselves a hell of a lot to do to get back into this game. So again, we could see at the other end of the end zone.
Shelley Cohen to Nicole Canning for the
We had that fantastic D from Prien. We had that break and a timeout. Huge athletic play from Kapelman, but again, just a throw that was not high percentage. And these are the kind of gifts that Brute are just not giving to the EuroStars. Another quick conversion and bringing the score up to 12-4 now. And this is the biggest margin we've had so far in these games. What are Brute doing better than the other teams that the EuroStars have played this week?
Well, I know that, you know, they are super efficient. I mean, I think the other teams did struggle a bit to convert. And I think that was the biggest thing that was problematic for them. And the other thing is this team has been, they do have some rookies here, but otherwise they have other people who've been playing 4+ years on the team, and they just so much trust in each other. And having someone like number 10, Sinokrope, on the team, who's been playing on this team since she was 16 years old. This is her 13th season, second as a captain.
Wow.
I mean, having some sort of leadership and consistency like that is just so important for a team. And like you said, we have much more opportunities here in the U.S. Like Amber has been able to play on this team for 13 years in her hometown where she grew up. So I think that makes a big difference.
But EuroStars still very much fighting. Bass and Milik trying to use those quick handling resets. Great swing there from Bass. Using that hammer to find Scrampy. Scrampy again on the line. EuroStars really struggling to find some downfield players. That space in the middle beckons, but no one's running into it. Bass again on the line. Ushering those long field options, but they're just not there right now.
That's
Helps for a visionary cross-field throw, finding Lucio Tell in space, and now the foot's very much on the pedal. Katie Forth streaking one into the end zone, letting rip. And Issa Prada taking it home for the score.
Well, that's beautiful. That's what you want to see in a handler like Bas, seeing it and just being confident enough to put that huge crossfield hammer and just opening up the entire field.
What fantastic initiative from Bas. Really nothing happening upfield for the EuroStars. Having to look to reset, and what a throw that completely changed the tempo of that point as soon as she put it up. And 2-3 passes later, the EuroStars have another point on the board. So Bas is an incredible young talent from Netherlands. She's played as long as some of the most experienced players in this team, but is still the youngest member at 23.
Yes, I heard you saying last night maybe started at 10?
Yeah,
10 years old?
Yeah, 10 years old in Utrecht. And has captained all of the junior teams that she's been on. No stranger to leadership at such a young age. A very, very smart player. A very visionary player, as we see. An incredibly passionate player.
How many of these women have been captains of their respective teams? Do you know?
I'd say the majority.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure the majority. Maybe for the exceptions of Sarah Melvin and maybe the Spanish, Isa and Lucy. Yeah, they've been playing for a lot less, maybe 6 or 7 years. But again, that's because they're coming from nations with less developed Frisbee.
So this is nice. EuroStars are trying to bury them on that sideline, have a zone look of their own now to try again to slow down the offense effectively, and that is amazing.
Fantastic handler block there from Sarah Eklund, the Swedish international. And just what the EuroStars need. Dimanskaya finding Nikki Priyan on the other side of the field. Working it together. Trying to find that break side. The cut comes a little bit too late, unfortunately, from Kurbitska, but not the one from Ferolfi. And there's a stoppage in play. Foul called. Not quite sure where that occurred, but didn't seem to affect the play of the disc. So disc is tapped back in. And Ferolfi looking to aggressively hit that sideline, but Brute Squad all over it.
Foot race to the
Wow.
number 12, Canning getting that. Another jump ball going Brute Squad's way. Number 7, Groom, putting it to the middle of the field to Malinowski. Gets it out to the side. Steady hands of Cohen, putting it down to the opposite side. Punching that in.
Another fantastic point there from Brute. And again, unfortunately, it's just that wonderful hand block, but just kind of seeing red on that end zone line and not having the same patience that Brute is exerting again and again and again.
Well, and this is just something that Cami Groom happens to do really well, is anticipating what the offense is going to do and just being in the right space at the right time. So that wasn't even the person she was defending, and just being able to see that disc going up and having the wherewithal and the speed to get into that space. The offensive player did not even know that she was there.
Yeah, great play.
Something else that's been great for visibility here in the States has been the number of highlight plays that have been appearing on ESPN on the top 10 and Sports Center. And I know just a couple of weeks ago, Cami Groom was in top 10, but her sister was also in. So I can't imagine how proud I would be if 2 of my children were at top 10 highlights.
Fantastic. And we know the families and friends of all the EuroStars are incredibly proud also. The Spanish were telling me yesterday they always have a flurry of text messages after every match. So Bas again, that intuitive playmaker back on the pitch, hoping to whip up something special for the EuroStars again. And a pick called as a pause in the play. Just tapped in as Melvin streaks up the line, and that makes room for that reset, but another fantastic read from the Brute defense on that swing.
Great block by Ali Heath.
So Ali Heath being able to read that, that just did float behind the intended receiver. And Heath having such a wide reach, she also one of the tallest players on Brute squad. Being able to read that, getting the reset, continue not there. Getting it around with her huge reach again. Ali is another 5'11" player on the field, and so it's hard to, I would believe, mark someone that with that large of a wingspan.
Wow. And then another break for Brute, and now within 1 point of taking this game home. We're playing a game to 15 this evening.
She got a piece of that. That's amazing. I mean, I know this isn't what the result that the EuroStars wanted, but they definitely should hold their heads high playing against this Brute squad team that has been on the upswing, you know, since disappointing finish at Worlds, and then really just refocusing and dedicating themselves. And they really are on the upswing right now, getting ready for the series. And really this is when, you know, the next couple of weeks is when they expect to peak. So I think the EuroStars have given them a good game and really pressured them and made them, I think, stretch and make their players have to make the big plays each time. And it just so happened that they just fell into Brute's hands tonight, but a lot of them I think could have gone either way.
Yeah, real shame. You know, there's so much potential on this EuroStars team, and we've seen it already. But just the system's not working for them this evening, and testament to Brute for being very much on top of that. We can see them predicting the play very well at this late stage of the game and getting those run-through Ds.
Well, and I had asked Coach Jackson earlier this evening about how he's preparing for EuroStars, because you know, now that we have the footage, you know, have you been watching them? So they do have that as well, being able to see all the games.
So backs four for the disc, finding Kublitska on the line, and there's a streaking Nikki Priyan with her hands in the air, but opting for patience and swinging it to Faralfi, who finds Hauser. Again, Priyan in the center, nice and free. And this time Faralfi finds her and finds a free Kublitska on the line, who lasers it to Sarah Eklund, and a lovely point there. EuroStars really finding that space this time. Nikki Priyan seems to be constantly free in that point and making that great continuation up the line to Kublitska.
That's Nikki Priyan to Sarah Eklund for the EuroStars.
And a lovely point for the EuroStars, and demonstrating that nice discipline and hitting those first open spaces.
And that's the beautiful points that we've been used to seeing from the
Exactly.
EuroStars on this tour.
So EuroStars starting to show us their finest, and we're getting that comeback that we wanted.
Yeah.
Once again, the EuroStars want to thank all the partners for their support in the America's Pro Cup. Remember, fans, to visit.
I mean, that'll keep it spicy. I mean, 14-6. I can see a big run coming.
I mean, it could happen.
I mean, Brute Squad know it can happen. They did the same thing against Fury in US Open.
Exactly.
So, France Grand Prix again, looking to put out a huge field length pull.
So we see the Brute O-line is anchored by Ali Heath and Tulsa Douglas. Amber Sinacrope is back out there. Imagine they'll be the handler set. We also have Courtney Verhalen along with Chelsea Murphy.
Oh,
Amber looked like she took her eye off the ball just for a split second, anticipating that next throw.
Lovely low force there from Isa Prada, forcing that option up the line into the tight space. So we have Bass with the disc on the line. Looking for Prada, but a beautiful ISO, freeing up that room in the center of the pitch, and Milik puts it up. Fantastic throw. Beautiful throw to a streaking Isa Prada.
That was beautiful. I see a little more spring in their step. That is awesome.
So a Danish-Spanish connection there. The first time we've seen Milik put up a beautiful huck in this campaign. And again, EuroStars starting to find that space, not having to contest those on-the-shoulder foot races. The systems are starting to work. And again, another visionary throw from Bass to really instigate all of that play.
That was an amazing break to a wide open person in the middle of the field.
And that's exactly what the EuroStars have needed when the Brute Squad have been able to clamp down on them and force those resets. They really get into the heads of the EuroStars and slow them right down. But as soon as the EuroStars are able to break through, they're away at the races, and it only takes another 2 or 3 passes for the point to rack up on the board.
And that's what you said earlier, wishing that they would be more aggressive with the breaks, because that is what they need to open up the space. So it's nice to see them doing that.
Yeah, especially when a team gets so familiar with the style that you're cutting in and the spaces you're trying to use. And if you're always trying to hit the same part of the pitch, it's going to be very hard.
So as the first pull that's going out of bounds, the pulls have been lovely tonight. Looks like they're going to try that sagging defense again.
So Eklund on the mark again, looking to get her second point block of the game. Ooh.
Oh.
Body's in the right place there.
Oh, nice.
Tight spaces abound for both teams, and it's for Rolfi who lands on top. Great work there from the Italian. Not the tallest in that huddle under the disc, but read it perfectly.
And another EuroStars break.
Oh, just boxing out, using her body to make sure that she is between whoever is coming towards her and the disc.
And the comeback continues. I think that's 3 on the board now.
We knew.
Exactly what we wanted. Exactly what we wanted. And lovely to see the EuroStars getting more possession and being able to show us exactly what they're made of. You can see Bexforth there really geeing the EuroStars up.
See if they can keep this run going.
And again, it looks like the same line. This line is really on a roll. Again, with the big arms of Milik and Franz Scrampy, the aggressive breaking of Bass, the intelligent play of the outfield players, Isa Prada, Katie Forth and Sarah Melvin, and Ines Brugel. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I've noticed every point the Brute has been changing their line. Just try to
keep those fresh legs.
Punch in this last point. They haven't found the magic combination yet. Ellie Heath getting the disc down, pushing off to Angela Zhu. She's looking for deep, but it's covered. Doing a little small ball, trying to open up the deep space again. They have cutters going, but the handling, the marks have been much better the past couple of points to stop that.
EuroStars doing a great job of pushing Brute back right now. But they found that swing.
Oh, almost a miscue.
And there's that little pop into the center, but the momentum's been halted. Ooh, and Milik's so close there. But there we have it. Bass brings home the conversion. The defense, sorry. Conversion to come, conversion to come. Let me get ahead of myself.
Yeah. So again, I think what really made that effective was stopping the deep game, really putting a lot of pressure, making Brute just have to reset, reset, reset until finally they're able to generate the turn.
Come on. Milik teasing us again with that long throw. We know she's got it. Working well with Bass, laying it off, but can't find that swing immediately, so Bass instigates yet again. And launches one. A beautiful throw, but unfortunately not expected downfield. And
looked like initially 2 EuroStars started going, and then they both stopped because they saw each other going. And that's when she put it up, unfortunately. Let's see if they can stop it here and get a short turn, short field turn. Get 1 point closer.
This current EuroStars line has performed so well right now. They're so hungry for it.
Douglas getting it out to Zhu, pushes it downfield.
And again, plugging those deep looks really effectively. Milik straight there on the mark, nice and flat.
Zhu doing a great job with the reset, getting it out to O'Connell. Doesn't have anything. She has to reset back to Zhu's, looking for the swing. Douglas makes a switchback cut.
Really intelligent exploitation there. Katie Forth completely marking out that first throw, but taking that easy inside, just as we've done here, and
that'll do it.
And that's the game for Brute.
Well, what's amazing is they outscored them at the end 3-1. So that was a nice little run there by the EuroStars.
Yeah, a wonderful comeback from EuroStars, but unfortunately left themselves with a lot of work to do at the end. And
now bring the final score, 15-8, Boston over the EuroStars.
Having to work hard in that final point, the EuroStars defense doing a great job of marking out those initial cutters, but Brute taking what they were given very, very intelligently. And Katie Forth, as amazing as she is, can't be everywhere on the pitch. She managed to mark out the first look, but not the second. And once they found that space in the middle, it was just a couple of passes to pop off, and the win was there. So there we have it. Brute doing all they can for Team America and bringing them very much back in the game in this America's Pro Cup campaign. Only 1 point keeping the teams apart now, with the EuroStars still just edging the lead at 7 versus Team America's 6. And so now we go into these last final games against Toronto Sixers and DC Scandal with all to play for on both sides.
Well, the good news is that we're going to stay in the same time zone, so that'll definitely help with the travel. And the Toronto and DC both not being too bad of flights, so hopefully getting some rest and coming back really fresh for the Sixers, who is a nice young team full of energy, and I'm sure it'll be a really amazing game.
Absolutely, and here we see the teams amassing for the Spirit Circle. This tour, like we mentioned before, is all about visibility and engagement. And Spirit Circle is something that often happens just amongst the two teams, but on this tour, the spectators are always included, and we can see them now moving down to hear what both teams have to say. Eileen, what was the play of the match for you?
Oh my, well, I have to say that I really enjoyed the Malinowski Demanskaya matchup. Just having that repeat of Beach Worlds, and on a different stage, a different setting and things like that. But really enjoyed seeing those two athletes give it to each other. And every time you have the opportunity to play against high-level players, you get better. And so I know that they appreciate that. And not necessarily getting to play against women of their own height. I mean, I know she had Catherine Wooten in Atlanta to contend against, but it was really nice to see that matchup, and that 1D that she had, that Becky had in the end zone, was a nice heads-up D.
Yeah, fantastic defense. So you see the teams now huddling up, and not only will they commend each other for play and share their highlights on the pitch, but the EuroStars are going to take this opportunity to tell the spectators what this experience means to them and how grateful we are to be here playing this Pro Series in the States.
You guys came out hard. You were flying. That first half was so impressive. It was clean, it was fast, it was extremely difficult to stop. It was very, very impressive. Thank you for the game. Thank you to the community for coming and supporting. This is our 5th game, 5th city in our tour, and we relish the opportunity to play such fabulous teams like Brute Squad. It's a very different environment in the European communities, and we don't get to play games like this. So having this hard women's game and to share it with everybody here and online is a treat, an honor, and a privilege, and something that we hope we can do next year and the year after, and keep celebrating women's ultimate.
Hi everyone. Oh. So first, it's really a huge honor for Brute Squad to be able to play international teams and women here in our home city. So I think first it would be really awesome if you just give a huge round of applause to folks for coming out, because it's just awesome that you're all here. So thank you very much, EuroStars, for a really incredible game. I think that it's hard for us to come out on a weekday after a whole day of work and really immediately start playing hard, and I think you really punished that in the second half by forcing us to really work hard and pay attention to what we were doing, and we just really appreciate that you all came out, and good luck in the rest of your tour.
So I'm going to add
Have it, we're coming to the conclusion of this 5th America's Pro Cup game here in Boston, where we've seen Boston Brute Squad victor against the EuroStars 15-8. But unfortunately it was very much a game of 2 halves, and EuroStars just didn't turn up to the first one, unfortunately. The first half ending 8-1. But finally they managed to get their hands back on the disc, and we really saw them flex their muscles and show the form that we've seen earlier in the tournament, and eventually tying the half 7-7, but unfortunately not enough to see out this game, and it's Team America who victored today.
Well, I'm excited because leaving the second half playing just point for point with Brute Squad is going to be a really good setup for them headed up to their game in Toronto. So I'm really looking forward to seeing it, and so thankful that I was also given this opportunity to work with you and the EuroStars, so thank you so much.
Oh, we're so thankful to you and everyone at New York Empire today for hosting this event here in Boston. We hope you enjoyed the game. Here's the best of it. Showing fantastic visibility of all these phenomenal female athletes. Fantastic defense there from Brute. And there's much more of this to come. The tour is not over. The campaign still continues. And as we said, all to play for. Just 1 point in it now. Team Europe just edging Team America 7-6 in this series. And there'll be plenty more of these big plays to see when we head up Toronto and DC in the coming days. So many thanks to everyone for watching. Catch us again as we hit Canadian shores, as we play Toronto Sixers this Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 a.m. Central European Time. Take care and have a good one.